we're going to go over the thing that I am super passionate about and have been researching for. Oh, my wife would tell you that I have been researching this for far too long as I try and write a book about what really makes someone have a successful life. And I have been obsessed with this since I started high school. My senior thesis was written about what is success and what is a good life lived. And so I've been chasing this down for 25 years. Eventually, a book is going to come out of me. And I think it'll be the best, most incredible moment of my life when it finally gives birth. So I'm super excited about that. So I call it the 9 principles of personal performance, 9P3 for short, but really it's all about how you live your life on your terms to unlock fulfillment in what it is that you're doing. And so I really believe that at the end of the day, fulfillment is the highest purpose that all of us are chasing. We are trying to make sure that we live with conscious intention of everything that we're doing, because the people who are disillusioned aren't bringing conscious intention to their everyday life, and then they wonder why they're not enjoying it. So the greatest gift you can give yourself is chasing fulfillment, which really, when you break down what is fulfillment, it's a result, again, of conscious attention. You're going to hear me say that 55 times, to live your life on your terms. And the way in which you do that is you align your vision, what's the impact that I'm going to have for the world, your values, and then your actions. And when you do that, suddenly your chest swells out a little bit. You feel really good about the work that you're doing, and it becomes way more fun in your own life. Now, I get to work with high achievers, and I call it the blowing leaf syndrome. So I'll speak to someone and they'll say, yeah, I don't know, I'm not happy, I'm not getting what I want out of life. And I ask them, well, what is it that you want to get out of life? And the answer is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I want to get out of life. And so if you're going to be in that space where you're not going to bring conscious intention and define the impact that you want to make in the world, then I guarantee you, you're never going to get out of life what you want, because you haven't defined it. It's simply not possible to go achieve it. And so if you feel like you're blowing like a leaf in the wind, then today is exactly what you need, because we're going to give you a framework that is going to show you, and it's dead simple. And you're going to say, you know what? I know all of this, but executing on it is really a different story. And so hopefully we can give you the tools to really get to a place of performance. Before we go much further, I just want to share this with you. I have a free resource that I have developed over time. It's a Trello board, and it's organized by every principle that I'm going to walk through today. And so it's organized by the 9 principles, and there is literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles that are in here. And so if you are interested in going and visiting and getting ideas about, principle 3, the attitude and approach, you can go there, and there will be hundreds of articles for you to go do. I've already done the research. These are the good ones. I don't just put any article up there. These are the ones where I thought, man, that is really good. There's research, there's statistics behind it. I've integrated some statistics into this presentation, but I didn't want to bore you with all of the details of just statistics. But if you want to go visit there, you can go to bit.ly/PC-9P3. Again, it's bit.ly/PC-9P3. And again, it's all the resources that I have used to build this model. So here's really what it comes down to. I think I've shared with you before, when I was 26, I was running a company that was on a rocket ship. We went from 5.9 million to 15 million in 18 months. I thought I was invincible. I was working 100-hour weeks. And on Valentine's Day, I thought I was having a heart attack. And what I learned out of that situation is the foundation of life is health, because I can't lead anyone, let alone myself, when you're laying on a hospital gurney and you're reaping the rewards of all of your bad choices. And so this is the model. So it starts with your health. So we work from the outside in, and as you'll see, we work from the inside out to make sure that we are living that aligned life and performance. So the second piece of this is your vision and values. So it's hard to get to the place and be that glowing leaf if we haven't defined where we want to go and how we want to get there. And I'm going to walk you through that. The third principle is your attitude and your approach. Good news, research supports that if you bring a positive, enthusiastic, optimistic view to life, you are going to get more out of life. And so seems pretty simple, but lots of people wake up like Scrooge every day and don't like the world that they live in. Intellectual curiosity. You know, we actually have to build the skills to do the work and accomplish our goals. We can't just have this dream and not actually build the skills that we need to be successful. And then again, you know, work ethic. There's so many times that people will not take action. They have that fear of failure, that imposter syndrome. And so we'll talk a little bit about work ethic and actually doing the work. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. And so the next principle is how you make your relationships work. If you think you're doing life alone, you are absolutely delusional, because all of our work, all of our relationships make for a wonderful, fulfilling life. Even with all of this work, you look at all of this opportunity, things are going to go wrong. So we need to make sure that we have grits and guts and resilience to actually make sure that we get ourselves to the other side when stuff gets hard. And it's all the things that we do before that time that set us up to be able to bridge the gap when that time comes. And then we have to look at relentless accountability, right? Am I on the right track? Just like a business looks at their profit and loss statements and dashboards and key metrics, we should be doing the same thing for ourselves. We should be charting that path and then being held to account, and then also reflect on it. The world changes. And so sometimes, you know, your goals in life are going to change. Be open to that. And then the last piece is refresh and renew. So we talked about the outside in, protecting your health, which is your diet, your exercise, and your sleep. We also need to protect from the inside out. We need to make sure the core being of ourselves is absolutely ready to perform. And we're going to talk a little bit about that piece. So let's talk about the foundation. And this is really your physical health, because people sometimes ask me, where does mental health fall into this? And in my experience, your physical health is at the outside, because again, if we're laying on a hospital gurney, we can't perform at all. All the other pieces of this model bring us to good mental health, the ability to have agency over our choices. And so that's kind of how I've delineated these two things out. So the foundation of life is health, and it's diet. So not in like, am I trying to lose weight? Although if you're overweight, you should be mindful of your diet to get yourself to a healthy weight. But are you treating food as fuel? And a balanced diet is key to performance, right? If we're putting terrible things into our body, why would we think that we're going to get the output that we should deserve, that our body deserves, that our goals and our attention to our vision and our values deserve? Second piece of it is exercise. There are so many connections between your exercise, mental clarity, and energy. They're clear. Movement is medicine. It absolutely sets you up for success. And so 30 minutes, 5 times a week. Again, the research is clear. I don't know, I have to go deep into that. But again, I will tell you, go to that Trello board if you are interested. There is so much scientific data that supports making sure you do all 3 of these things to set yourself up for success. And then sleep. Sleep's critical to ensure that you have the energy to do the work and achieve your vision and your values. So let's just think about this. They say you need 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And so I'm on the low side of that. There is a gene that they have found where people need even less than 6 hours sleep. They have found people have this one gene, they can use about 4 hours sleep, which I think is quite honestly extraordinary. But for the average adult, we need to be aiming for 6 to 8 hours of sleep. And again, using routine to get us into a place where we are getting the sleep that we need. I thought this was really interesting. So 60%, a study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology demonstrated that walking indoors and outdoors triggered a burst in creative thinking, and the average creative output was 60% when a person was walking. So if you need to go solve problems, if you need to go think about something, go integrate exercise into what it is that you need to go solve, because your creativity scientifically proven to rise. Kevin, that's might be a good one for you when you're stuck on a marketing challenge.
Yeah.
So the road and the rails, I call the vision and values. So your vision creates the road that you will travel, and your values form the guardrails. And this is, super important. Again, if we don't know where we're going, then there's no way we can feel that level of fulfillment. So ambiguity is the enemy of accomplishment. So get clear or be disappointed at the end of the day. So let's start with your vision. The vision is your GPS on your road to a fulfilling life. And so we have to make a distinction between purpose and passion. So passion can be something short-term that we're super excited about, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's enduring. Purpose is enduring. It is the core innate thing that unlocks the next level of want and performance inside of me. I'll give you an example. When I was growing up, I was passionate about collecting baseball cards. I loved it. It was my hobby. I still have a gazillion of them. I have no idea what's going to happen when my dad moves here later this year. So if anyone's interested in baseball cards, I got about 1 million of them. And so let me know. But it really is that distinction. That passion in my life has faded, right? But my purpose of living a conscious, intentional life where I'm creating and helping people create their own fulfillment, that has not waned in the 25, 27 years that I've been chasing. One other thing about vision is the importance of writing it down. So let's talk about that for just a second. There was a study performed at Dominican University in California. You become 42% more likely to achieve your goals and dreams simply by writing them down on a daily basis. So when you talk about little hacks that you can have and that you can do along the way, there are absolutely opportunities where you can just say, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Write it down every single day. 42% more likely to achieve that goal. I thought it would be disingenuous if I didn't share my own personal vision with you. And so my own personal vision is to have an insane amount of fun by loving, inspiring, and supporting people to lead a fulfilled life while leaving the world a happier, better place. That's what drives me. That's what makes me every day align. Here's the things that I need to do. I need to make sure that I'm a loving husband, a loving dad, a loving friend. I try and inspire people. I send text messages out. I have groups that I do. I run office hours on Thursdays to help and support people. And at the end of the day, I think the greatest ripoff in life is success without fulfillment. Let me just say that again. The greatest ripoff in life is success without fulfillment. That everyone looks and says, oh my gosh, you have this amazing life and you have a company that is incredibly successful. And yet inside of you, you feel incredibly hollow about the work that you're doing. And so to me, making sure that we are aligned so that you can get what you want out of life starts with being really intentional about the vision that we have. So our values form the guardrails. It's what we celebrate. It's what we don't tolerate. It's thinking about the people that we want to have around in your life and in your work life. And so, the way I explain your values, even if you don't have them written down, which I encourage you to do, and it's going to be the challenge at the end for you to do that. You know how you take an action and at the end of the day, you just feel this pit in your stomach, and it's because that's not who you aspire to be as a person. It's not the person that you say like, man, that feels awesome to me. And so that's a good indication that you've acted in a way that's misaligned with your values. Pay attention to those moments. Think back as you start to create your own values. What are those things that elevate my life and make me feel really good? And just as important, what are those elements of my life that create this visceral, absolute disgust that another person could do that? That's a great indication that that is a core value of yours in your life. One of the ways to make sure that we act with intention and alignment is, I say daily intentions every day. So we create the mindset for making my impact on the world. That's what I'm going to do. So every morning, I work through my intentions. And what I do is I take my vision and my values and I turn them into intentions. And really the trick here, the hack is that I am training my subconscious to continually scan the world for the opportunities for me to make the impact that I want. So one of my favorite ones is, today I intend to add an insane amount of joy into the world. So my mind all the time is looking for opportunities that I can hold the door open, that I can pay the genuine compliment, that I can notice that someone got their hair cut, that I can recognize their work, because that's what we do as human beings. We are social creatures. My other favorite intention that I say is the third one, which is, I will live in wonder, not in judgment. So many times we feel like we need to judge everything. And the reality of it is way more constructive, is way more useful to say, that's interesting, tell me more. Because it's not necessarily about right or wrong. It's about what's good for you, what aligns for you. Someone else might see the same exact thing and share it very differently, have a very different reaction to it, that it does serve them. But if it doesn't serve you, that's okay. It's for them, it's not for you. And so using intentions from your vision and your values and transforming them to intentions get you to a place of performance where you have that alignment and your actions are in alignment with where you want to go. This is one of my favorite stats, that when you don't get your vision and your values right, people make changes. And so when you look through the Great Resignation right now, we knew that 2/3 of people did not really enjoy the work that they were doing. We knew that from every survey that was out there. And then suddenly we sent people home with lots of white space to think, spending lots of time with their family. And they started to think, is what I'm doing matter? Does it matter? Am I living the way that I want to? And I think that's what really has triggered this explosion, that 4 million people every month since July of 2021 have voluntarily left their positions. And it's not necessarily for more money. In some cases it is, but it's really driven by purpose and alignment of values. The Edelman Trust Report highlights that 61% of people are searching for companies that align with their values. They expect the CEO to demonstrate the social values that are important to them. And so you need to make sure that you're thinking about that so that you have that alignment. I always love this one because it's about your attitude and your approach. So you can't always control your circumstances, but you can always control your attitude and your approach. My mom used to say to me when I was a young kid, and I love this saying, she would say, smile and the world smiles with you, cry and cry alone. And she was teaching me at a very young age that life is literally a choice you make. If you want to cry, you can cry. You're going to go over there in the corner and go cry by yourself. But if you want to bring joy and happiness and positivity and enthusiasm and optimism, then you got people that want to come along on the journey with you. And so you have the ability to always have the attitude and approach. I'm sure we know those people around us. And my point is, the clearer you are on your vision and your values, the easier it is to choose your attitude and approach and to align those people going forward who are all going to help you on the journey ahead. Again, good news, positivity, optimism, enthusiasm, all associated with better outcomes. If you're really interested in this area, pick up Sean Acker. He's one of my favorite authors. look in the area of positive psychology, there is so much around this that you can literally choose your path in life and your approach to doing it. And you should do that. So his research in the happiness advantage was productivity rose by 31%. When you have a happier and positive brain, you are more productive. I'm interested because I want to go chase my goals. I don't want to have to work harder because I'm being a sad sack. I'm going to be Buzz Lightyear. I'm going to choose my attitude and approach. I'm not going to sit there by myself saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. When you think about your businesses and the people that you want to have around you, are you hiring Buzz Lightyear who's going to go figure it out? Or are you hiring Eeyore? Because in my world, I don't care how talented you are. If you're an Eeyore, you are not going to be in my life. That's how committed I am to this principle. Again, happier and positive brain, sales increased by 37%. The likelihood of a promotion rose by 40%. Why? Because you have that magnetism. People want to be around you. Who wants to be around people who are sad sacks? It makes no sense to me that people can't understand that they have agency over their life and choice. And if your thoughts, your feelings, or your actions are not serving you, then change them. That is your responsibility to change them. Which comes to your locus of control. So one outlook when you have an external locus of control is that you feel like no matter what it is that you do, the world is happening to you. Woe is me, the weather is bad outside. I had bad luck. Oh, well, that's just fate. When that is your mindset, and you don't think that you have agency over your choices and that that makes an impact and how it shapes the world around you, then it's linked to depression. It's linked to lower performance. But when you change that mindset and you take control and you have that internal locus of control, you understand that my choices matter, that the actions that I take matter. And so if you commit yourself and you're doing everything you can to go achieve that goal, you can literally go do anything. And you don't believe in things like fate or destiny or luck. It's a result of choices. And so the most successful people in the world have an internal locus of control. Why? Because if you don't believe what you do matters, why would you do any of this work? You just sit for the world to happen to you. I think it's one of the saddest thoughts when people are constantly in that victim mode and thinking that the world is conspiring against them instead of taking that control and saying, I have agency over my choices. It's not enough just to have the dream, and it's not enough to also have the best attitude. We have to make sure that our skills match our ambition. I'm on a pursuit right now to positively impact 5 million people over the next 5 years through better business. My skills do not yet match my ambition. I have so much more to learn. Do I have great experiences? Have I had some successes? Absolutely. But my skills don't match my ambition yet. And so I have to continue to elevate my skills and my intellect to be able to go make the impact. And so the world is also changing. You have to be mindful that the challenges in the next world, machine learning, automation, artificial intelligence, those are all changing the way in which we do work. A report from CBRE in 2014, so it's a little bit dated, but I think we're headed in this direction. And even if we're headed in just a fraction of it, it's a scary statistic. It reported that an estimated 50% of jobs would be redundant by 2025, so 3 years from now, due to technological innovation. If you are paying attention to things like artificial intelligence and machine learning and the economics inside factories, because engineers are incredibly in demand and hard to find, automation is replacing hordes and hordes of frontline people in jobs. If you are not leveling up your skills and your intellect and chasing down new knowledge to solve better and bigger problems, then you're sunk. And good news, learning is associated with increased health, economic advantages, social connection, happiness, and even approachability. I mean, does it get any better than that? I mean, exercise is probably the only other cooler thing that has so many healthful benefits to it, but learning is pretty cool. And I'm a self-admitted nerd. I'm not afraid to admit that I used to read the dictionary when I was young. Some people were reading comic books. I was reading the dictionary in my bedroom. Intellectual curiosity. How do you do it? Some people just get stuck and they say, man, I have these big dreams, but I don't know how to go level up and build the skills. So it's really, really simple. 3 steps. One is, let's assess. Where are you today? You have to get brutally honest with yourself. Sometimes I talk to people and they are not as honest as they need to be with themselves of where their skill is, what the gap is to get to where they need to go. And so you have to understand, here's where I am, ruthlessly honest. Then we build a plan. Who can help you get there? What can help you get there? Coworkers are out there, friends are out there, networks are great places to start. I will tell you, I turn to LinkedIn a lot. I will connect with people as I've been writing on this journey. And I've said to them, hey, I'm in the middle of writing a book about the business acceleration model, which is the other book that I'm working on. And I've asked for their help. What is your perspective? Let me run you through the model. And I've gotten great feedback from people who have made the Inc. 500 and best places to work. All of those people are social creatures. They're willing to help when you are humble and you put your ego aside and say, I need your help. Would you be willing to take 10 minutes with me? And then be respectful and be organized and have a plan and ask them, you're where I want to go. How did you get there? If you were talking to 30-year-old me, what is it that you would be telling me to do so that I can get to the place where I want to go? And then the third piece of it is execute. You've got to challenge yourself to actually present the information you're learning to make it crystal clear. I have found this to be a really interesting process myself personally, is I've had all of these thoughts in my head, but when they start coming out as words, it changes the way in which you think about them. It's like, that's not really what I mean. I need to think more about that. And so one of my challenges to you is take what you're learning and present it to people. You have platforms like Facebook, like LinkedIn, to share what it is that you're learning so that you can continue to level up your game. People are going to help you along the way to say, oh, that's not exactly how I see it. And that's good for you because we continue to level up. We're always better together. Again, we can do the intellect, but dreams are great and all. You have to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, then you're not going to achieve your goals. I always say, people looked and said about Facebook, oh, I had the idea for Facebook. Yeah, but there were only a couple guys that sat in their dorm room and actually programmed Facebook and made it come to life. And so there are plenty of dreamers and not enough doers. And so if you find yourself dreaming instead of doing, here's what I'll tell you. The most successful people I know, and I get to work with a lot of them, they take action differently. Here's the thing that I talk about when I talk to high achievers who are suffering from imposter syndrome or fear of failure. So what do you fear more? Do you fear more that you would take action and learn because it didn't work out exactly the way you wanted? Or do you fear being 75 years old, laying on a hospital bed and thinking, what if? What if I had just tried? What if I had taken the shot? What if I had asked the hot girl out? What if I had done whatever it is that you wanted to go achieve in your life? I'm not going to be the 75-year-old guy laying on my bed. I'd rather have a little bit of learning in my life. And that's really what it is. It's not failure because it's learning. It sets me up for success to do the next thing. One of the things that I love about my daughter, Brooklyn, goes to a Montessori school. And I walked in one day and I came around the back because she had a dentist appointment. And I saw this big sign in big letters. It said, fail. I thought, whew, that is not very Montessori-like. I wonder what this is about. And so as I got closer to the door, it was an acronym. And it said, first attempt in learning. And when you change your mindset that failure is just learning, okay, I now know that doesn't work. Let me go again and try something else. It changes the way in which you approach things. It's not about your ego. It's not about looking bad. It's about being so committed to chasing your dreams that you're willing to have learning moments. Tips on doing work. Sometimes getting people out of the rut. Work cycles. Scientifically proven, 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off. 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off. Those should be your work cycles. Brain FM, I love this. This is a hack. It syncs up the brain cycles for optimal performance. And so I listen to it in my AirPods and it sits in the background and it gets me into this creative, focused flow and rhythm where I look up and I can't believe the amount of work that I just put out. White space. Sometimes people feel like they need to jam their calendar with all sorts of stuff in order to feel productive. It's the worst thing that you can do. When I work with CEOs, one of the things that I ask them to do is to share their calendar with me. And usually at first it's a mess because it's top to bottom with just schedule after schedule after schedule. And I ask, when do you do the thinking? When do you do the creative problem solving? And you need to have the white space, which is literally just the opportunity to think about the work that you're doing. And so if you don't have white space in your life, I get mine. I get up at 4 o'clock. I know I'm one of the strange ones, but I make sure that I have white space built into my day because it's not about doing the next thing. It's about doing the right next thing that is aligned to get me to my vision and my values. One of the things that I've been sharing is 15 forward. If you really want to unlock next level type performance, you have to be in control of your calendar. I have a whole learning about that. But take 15 minutes on Sunday, and I want you to look 15 days out. And then I want you to be ruthless about, do these things contribute to the work that I'm doing or to myself personally as I go and try and achieve the goals that I'm trying to achieve? 15 minutes on Sunday when you look 15 days out puts you in a place of control and alignment. You can shed things that are no longer important or no longer relevant on your calendar. You can excuse yourself from meetings because we have to be ruthless with our time if we're going to go achieve really big things. And I think it's important to know too, sometimes as high achievers, we're constantly thinking that we need to sprint. That is not how successful people work. There are times when we are jogging, we're in white space. That doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. It doesn't mean I'm standing and looking at the wall. It just means that I'm taking a deliberate rest to stop and think about what needs to be done in my life or in my business. There's times that we need to run. Like, we're at a good pace, we're running. We're doing good work, we're building the systems, we're building the programs. And there's times that we need to sprint. I would tell you right now, I'm in the middle of a sprint. I had very ambitious goals for Q1, and I'm in the middle of achieving them. I had an in-person event in Jacksonville. We had 15 C-level people come into Jacksonville. I launched this show in the middle of the month, and at the end of the month, I launched the Leadership Gap course. And so I am in a dead sprint right now, but my wife knows it, my friends know it, and they know, hey, this is just really focused work for 45 days. You cannot sprint for life. You cannot sprint for life. And so you have to have a plan to know when to jog, when to run, and when to sprint, and to communicate that to the loved ones around you. Everything we do is through our relationships. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. And the idea that there's a self-made man makes me literally like throw up in my mouth, because everything that I have ever done in my life is because people cared about me and gave me opportunities to learn and to grow and to make mistakes and to lead, which got me opportunities to do amazing things that align for what my life vision was. And so stop thinking that, oh, that's a self-made man. If you ever say that, I probably will kick you in the rear end if I'm with you. Here's the point. Connection is critical. We are social creatures. Connection lowers stress, increases performance, increases satisfaction, decreases mental illness. This is probably third on the list between exercise, learning, and connection, right? Nearly limitless upside having connection in life. And when we think about the opposite side of this, right, we have to get intentional about the people that we are spending time with. Because Jim Rohn, famous for saying this, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with in life. I want you to just stop and think for a second. Are you bringing the average up, or are you bringing the average down? Because in my life, I want to be the guy that's bringing the average down, because the people around me are such badasses that it's so inspiring. I've had fun in life. I've been able to achieve some things, but at the end of the day, I have so much more to achieve. And so I have so much more to learn. Spend your time with the right people. Be intentional. Do not leave it to chance. I thought these statistics were really interesting. If you volunteer at least once a week, the increase to your happiness is like moving from a yearly income of 20,000 to 75,000. I thought that was really interesting. That is a massive increase just by creating connections with people around you. 90,000 is the equivalent when you have a divorce. So when you break a critical social tie, in the case of getting divorced, it's like suffering a 90,000 per year decrease in your income. And think about that. That is massive. Money can't buy happiness, but it sure allows you to have experiences that create moments of joy for you. And so I thought that was pretty impactful. Again, when we look at connections and people, and we don't do life alone, 70% of people who share their progress weekly and a plan with a friend. Here was the key distinction. It has to be with a friend, not a boss, not a coworker, unless they are friends of yours. But if you do it with a friend, you achieve 70% of your goals. There's that accountability piece, right? I am being accountable. I am raising my hand and saying, I am going to go do this. And so super important. Share what it is that you're doing. You know, back to the original vision slide, you know, 42% of people achieve their goals when they write them down. I have this whole concept about creating your own board of directors. And I stole it from one of my former COOs, Zach Mitchell, incredible human being. I just look and say, if boards of directors are good enough for Fortune 500 companies, you're good enough to have one too. Why would we not think and be intentional about who we're going to bring and have around us in our life? So who's our financial person that's on your board of directors? Spiritual, emotional, social, right? Be really intentional about who's on your board of directors. And yes, I mean, I take people through an exercise of writing these things down, because those people create stability for you. They call you out on your BS. They hold you accountable. You should have a board of directors. Now listen, we can do all of this work. We can have the right attitude. We can build the skills. We can do all of those things. Things go wrong all the time. All the time they go wrong. Mike Tyson was always famous about saying, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's why I put this slide up there, right? So what do you do? How do we get to be gritty, have guts and resilience? Well, you have to develop mental toughness. And it always starts with your vision and your values. The clarity on your purpose is sustaining during difficult times. I can tell when people are not that interested in what they're saying their vision and the goals are, because when it gets hard, what do? They give up, because it wasn't really that important to them, or they hadn't really created that clarity on what the purpose was and why they were doing all of this work. You have to develop consistent habits that serve you, right? Again, if I need to level up my skills, then I need to be reading or listening to podcasts or interviewing people and finding out how they did it. Consistent habits continually serve you. And the way in which I say that is you're always either in a positive spiral or in a negative spiral. We are either on the way up or we are on the way down. Stasis is death, right? Homeostasis, death. Literally, stasis means death. And so we need to be in this place of creating positive spirals or recognizing when we're in a negative spiral. Good news, there's only 2 decisions that you need to make, 2 positive decisions, one to stop the negative spiral and one to start a positive spiral. And so when you look at this, you have to be aware. You have to have that board of directors around you. You have to have connection where people say, hey, you're not at your best today. What's going on? And then you can absolutely get yourself back into a place of performance with a positive spiral. I take this so far that I have a happiness list, because when you are not doing your best work and you're in a negative spiral, you are not thinking clearly. It's one of the things that Mother Nature got wrong. They dump chemicals into your brain that makes you dumber instead of smarter. And so instead of me having to think about how do I pull myself out of this, I have a happiness list. I'm going to take my dog for a walk. I'm going to go to the Jacksonville Arboretum because I love to be in nature. And I know that 60% creativity comes out of me when I'm on a walk in nature, right? We're using science to make unfair advantages in our life. We need to learn all of these little things that add up to create massive advantages so that you can accelerate your way to your vision that you want to make in life. Relentless accountability and reflection. We have to be honest with ourselves. So we got to know whether we're on the right path or not. I think just as important in today's day and age, and I pointed back to it, the 4 million people who have resigned and chosen a different path. Sometimes we need to know, you know what? My world has shifted. I wasn't leading an authentic life. I was leading what society was telling me I should be doing instead of what was really important to me. I succumbed to the whole notion of more and now. You don't need to chase more and now unless you want to chase more and now. If you bring conscious intention to it, then that's great. But don't just accept blindly that we need to constantly be in this treadmill of life for more and for now. I look at how are you winning? Businesses, we have profit and loss statements, right? How do we know that we're on the right track? So when we go back and we look at the skills that we need to level up, are we on the right track on building the skills? What are the aligned goals that you've set for yourself? One of the things that I see all the time is that we have this big grand vision, but we don't have aligned goals. And so the goals don't tier up in a pyramid to achieve the big vision that we want. So we have all these disjointed things that we do, but don't add up to helping us to achieve our vision. So we have to be conscious about that. I've said this before, am I taking the right next action or am I just taking the next action? Don't confuse activity with progress. We have been sold this bill of goods about busyness. Oh, he's so busy, I'm busy. No, it's a toxic word, right? It is a cancerous word. You have to be in control of what your next right action should be. Don't just stay on the hamster wheel, going. There's a book called The Progress Principle that I highly recommend. You have to celebrate the progress that you're making over time. If you don't celebrate the progress, then you're not going to sustain the actions that you're doing. So if you're constantly moving the goalpost back, as Sean Acker always says, we get good grades, we want to get better grades, right? You can't continue to move the goalpost back. We have to celebrate the progress that you're making. That's what helps sustain us on this big journey and this big quest. And again, 30% of people have completely different priorities since the start of COVID. The world changes. You should too. It's perfectly normal. Don't be so committed to your vision or to your goals that you're unwilling to change. It's okay to change. The world changes. Give yourself some grace. The last piece of this, and it's coming from the inside out, right? Remember that work ethic? Well, sometimes you have to chill out. That's the reality of it. And so there's two pieces that I found that are really important. The first one is refresh. You have to have a refresh list that is really about the daily moments that you take for yourself. I have a morning routine that I go through. It includes journaling. It includes meditation. It includes white space thinking. Those are the pieces that allow me to prime the pump to come back and to go again. It's almost like a fast acting charger, right? Gives us that charge, gets us the opportunity to go again. Other things that might be on your refresh list, walks, exercise, reading, podcasts, they're all good examples of refreshing activities. And we need to do them. We need to do them. The second piece is renew. So renewal is like a slow trickle charge, really get your battery back up to 100%. You have to know what sets your soul on fire so you can continue to relentlessly pursue your ideal life. For my family, and these are my two kids, Brooklyn and Briggs, renewal is in travel. We love to travel because it opens up new perspectives and allows us the opportunity to go hard again and again and again and again. That's what for us renewal means. It may be different for you, but do those things that set your soul on fire. There is a reason that companies give time off, paid time off. You should not at the end of the year have time off left in your bank that you either lose or carries over. I promise you, as the guy who was 26, 100-hour work week, sleeping on the couch, sending emails at 3 o'clock, it catches up with you. You're not doing your best work. Take your time off. So my challenge for you is to get clear on your vision and your values. And it all starts with conscious intention. If you go to the board, which is bit.ly/PC-9P3, if you're unsure what to do, there are exercises inside those boards to help you get really clear on your vision and your values. That's where life really gets fun. When you start living your life on your terms. We do this every week. So, like I said, my goal is to positively impact 5 million people over the next 5 years. And so ways in which I'm doing that, the best place is to lead, because I believe every company, every person has the potential to be great. And at the end of the day, most times we end up getting in our own way. And so there's a new website that I put together, bestplacesToLead.com, where all the episodes from previous weeks are up there. I would encourage you to sign up for Impossible. It's the weekly newsletter that I send out on Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock. And it's just one thought about how to live a life of impact, your life on your terms. And every Thursday from 2 to 3 o'clock Eastern time, I do office hours, not officer hours. That'll be a little bit different, but office hours I do every Thursday from 2 to 3. It's for senior leaders who have some type of challenge that they want to get some feedback on from other people. Michael, what did you think?
Last year, you posted some things about the guy that had the "I don't take vacation" mantra, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So what was the statement exactly you had?
Well, I mean, it's just the stupidest thing ever, right?
Yeah, if you wear that brand, right? You're the guy that never takes vacation till the end of the year. So I've been working on that.
It's a badge of honor. It's a stupid badge of honor where people walk around and say, "Oh yeah, I don't take vacations."
Yes.
The reality of it is you're living in a toxic workplace if you can't take vacation. It's there for a reason. And I will tell you as well that as you have more and more responsibility in an organization, it is right that you should have more and more vacation, because at the end of the day, it is more and more stressful. The more people who are in your care, it is more stressful for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Carol Ann has actually taken Nathan Adams' approach. He's really pushing for unlimited vacation for our company. Thought I'd get that out there on the record, Jerry.
I think that's super smart and very progressive thinking.
She's listening. She's listening, Carol Ann. Listening.
But most companies are afraid of doing that. But if we're clear on what the outputs are for our people, there should be no reason that unlimited vacation. I'm in Puerto Rico today. Does it matter where I am? It doesn't matter where I am. We live in a technology forward society. It doesn't matter where you are anymore. So,
yeah, Jerry, I love the vacation. I used to be one of those people that was under the impression that I didn't need vacation or I was always working, and I've kind of taken that to heart the last few years, and I feel like it's made me more productive. Another thing that I've put into action is white space, and that's really, really hard for me. I'm just going to say I'm always the one who wants to have my to-do list and I want to check things off, and that's all fine and great. But I have found time in that space has, helped me to think outside the box or think about new ways we should approach things. And so I'm very appreciative of you bringing that to my attention.
You're welcome. Thanks for being in my life and being a participant in some of these crazy ideas that I have. One of the things that I will share with you, KA, is if you are someone who's in that OCD mindset, loves the to-do list and checking things off, what I've seen successfully is instead of it just being white space, like, oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, use it to say, I'm going to explore this idea. I'm going to schedule a call, but this is my white space. I have a 15-minute call and 30 minutes to think about it. You're going to get breakthroughs that happen during that time. If we're constantly doing the doing, there's no time to have creative thinking.
You're exactly right. And I really like that idea too.
I think you were reminding me I need to go look at my personal user manual again and reboot myself a little bit. And also, it's funny, you're early on when I just hopped on, I posted in the chat about exercise, and I did 27 years of that in the military, and then I retired, and then it's been 2 years since I've kind of had to, and now I feel like now I have to.
That's right.
So I bought like a Bowflex last night, and my wife and I are going to start, getting back on the horse and just getting our physical selves back in check.
And that's why when I started the presentation, it's not that this is some breakthrough framework. It's all stuff that should make sense to you and resonate, but it creates an opportunity for you to look at and say, where am I missing in this? If you're not achieving your goals, where are you missing? Because I guarantee you it's on this path to success. So, don't just rely on your motivation bill. Put accountability measures in. Who are you going to include on your journey back to health and fitness? Get them involved.
Totally agree. Yeah, and I have to give my wife some credit, because like it was about a month ago, she's like, we need to go do something. And so first we were doing salsa lessons and we're going to continue doing that. And now it's like, well, let's do this also. And so it's just kind of snowballing into, we support each other to hold each other accountable to getting it done. So
I love it.
It's been good.
Great. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we get all of this posted onto the website. There are some resources that I gave you. I will make sure that those get integrated and sent out as well. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can reach me at jerry@provenchaos.com. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, I would encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I appreciate you guys all showing up. And next week, super fun. If you don't know this person, I want you to look her up. Next week, we have Amanda Holmes from The Ultimate Sales Machine. Her father wrote The Ultimate Sales Machine about 10 or 13 years ago. It is the top 10 most recommended business books of all time. And so she just finished her work with Penguin to rewrite portions of that book, which was really fun to watch firsthand. And she is a little spitball fire of energy with tons of ideas. And so I would encourage you, if you can come back next week at 3:30. So I'm super lucky to have her part of our community. All right, guys, we'll see you. Thank you so much.